And welcome to this FORNAV coffee break. My name is René Brummel. I'm a product specialist at FORNAV and I will be your presenter today. As this coffee break is live, you can ask your questions via the GoToWebinar question window. We will answer them at the end of the coffee break. Today we're going to explain how to add personalized text to your Business Central sales documents. In daily business operations, every customer interaction matters. Whether sending a sales quote, confirming an order, delivering an invoice, or following up via email, companies need to include messages that are clear, relevant, and tailored to the recipient. FORNAV Personalized Content allows you to add customized text, images, tables, Business Central data, and other content directly into Business Central documents and emails, all without coding. This helps ensure communications are relevant, consistent, and tailored to each recipient. As a result, you turn customer touchpoints into professional, personalized, and revenue-driving interactions. To demonstrate adding personalized text to your sales documents, I'm going to use these steps. Prerequisites: what do I need to get going? In step 2, I will set up text templates. In step 3, I will write text in sales documents. And in step 4, I will add the text to the reports. Let's start with the first step. Today, I will be working on a Business Central on-premise server with the Business Central 2026 Wave 1 release. I've installed the FORNAV customizable report pack and I've executed a step-by-step wizard from the assisted setup to get started. I've installed the FORNAV Designer, which is part of the FORNAV Toolbox. You can download the FORNAV Toolbox from the FORNAV website. And of course, everything I do today will also work in a cloud environment. The first thing we will need to do is set up FORNAV to enable sales texts. To do so, first thing I will do is enable sales text in the FORNAV setup and create a new text type. So let's move into Business Central. You go to the FORNAV setup. And in the FORNAV setup, there is a fairly new bit called text, which controls all of the FORNAV personalized content. In here, you can set the default font and font size, which is how the text is going to be displayed in reports if there is no other font or font size set. Today, I will be working on the use sales text. And if I switch that on, I get a button on the sales documents where I can start writing text. I will also enable flow to sales transaction. This will allow the text I have added on a quote, for instance, to flow to the order and to the invoice when it goes through the posting process. Next step is to add a text type. We add the master template, post and pre-text on the installation of FORNAV. And if you want to use the text on sales documents, you need to create a new text type. I'll call it sales doc. Because what you need is you need to enable the use on document. That enables FORNAV to use this text templates of this types in the sales documents. Now that FORNAV is set up to use text, I can add a text template. We want to give our users the option to start with a text template, and then they can change the text later when the text is loaded on the sales documents. So I will open my text templates. And quickly create a new one. Call it sales doc quotes. I'll leave language blank. That means that this template will be used for every language. Of course, you can add text templates per language if you want. Source table number is going to be 36. I want to add this text on a sales quote. The text type is going to be the new text type we created, sales doc, and I will quickly add a usage filter value for the document type because I only want to use this template on the quotes. I don't want to use it on the orders and invoices. Hit OK and hit edit HTML, and I'll do some really fast typing. As I usually do this stuff in my Word document as a prep. We'll add a salutation. I will add the document number. We'll add the valid until date. if you want to know more about these templates, we did a coffee break on specifically on sales templates, where we do a deep dive into how all of this works. For now, we'll just add some simple text replacements. I've added the salutation, base table number, quote valid until date, and the text username, which is the user of the name of the user that is currently logged in. If it's all done, I can hit preview and preview this on a simple quote, just to make sure that everything works. And you can see I have my salutation, my quote number, my valid until date, and the username that's currently logged in. Now we have enabled sales text. We can, and we've added a sales template, a text template. We can start using it in our sales documents. And to demonstrate that, I have created a quote. A very simple quote for a simple customer with a single bicycle that I'm going to send. And you can see right now that because we enabled the sales text in the FORNAV setup, we have a new field called FORNAV text editor. And if I drill down into this, you can see that I am asked to choose a template. I can click OK and I can click cancel. If I click cancel, I start with empty text. Or if there is no template, I will also start with empty text. And if I start it again when the text is still empty, I get asked again, do you want to load the text from a quote from the template? Hit OK, and then the text from my template is used. Once the text is loaded, I can change it. To anything you want. There we go. Not sure if this is actually best practice for sales, but it serves as a demo. And of course, I can do this for sales lines as well. So just added the text for the header. I can have on the lines, I also have the FORNAV text editor. There's no template there, so I go straight into my text editor, where I can also do some pasting from my Word document. So again, clean up. And I can copy an image from my Word document. I'll align this to the left. Make it a little bit smaller. Come on. There we go. So add some text for my sales lines with some images if you want. And hit OK, and that's all we need to do. And finally, I want to use my sales text in my FORNAV reports, and to do so, I need to add the texts to my report layout. And if you have seen the coffee break on the text templates that I mentioned earlier, you will have noticed that in FORNAV reports, the text templates for pre and post text types will be loaded by default, but we do not load these sales document texts by default. So we need to tell FORNAV to do so. And you can see right here the header pre-text and the header post text. To add this text, the text is stored in a standard Business Central table called entity text. And to add this entity text on our report, we have created a new template for the entity text. And if I click that, you will see that I get a new data item for the FORNAV HTML table. Auto-populate by default is set to true because we need to run some code to get the HTML text, and we also run it through the HTML splitter so we can split it across multiple pages. And you can see we have a body automatically created where we display the FORNAV HTML.html, and of course that is set to can grow, and it is set to multi-line. So it does pretty much everything that we need. I want to move this up because I want to move it all the way to the top of my report. There we go. And of course, I need to do the same thing for the line. Again, templates and entity text. That adds the text again, and of course you can change the name of the data item because FORNAV HTML1 may not be something that somebody else can understand. The same with the body, but it does more or less what it is supposed to do. If I hit preview, I only have one quote in my system. You can see that the text from my sales document is loaded and the text from my sales line is also loaded. Let's recap what we just did. We found that we could manually add text on sales documents. The first thing we needed to do to make that work is enable the feature in the FORNAV setup page. We could also enable the flow of text through the sales transactions. And that reminds me, of course, now we have printed the quote. We need to actually make the quote into an order. Because I wanted to demonstrate the flow to sales transaction, we have these texts on our quote. If you make it an order, the original quote and the entity text connected to that quote is either archived or removed. So the text needs to be moved to the new quote, which is a new entry in the database, which it does, and that's because the moved flow to sales transaction has been set to true, and it does the same for the lines. So back to the recap. So we enabled the flow of text through the sales transactions. We also created a template so users can start with a sample text. Once the template text was loaded on the sales document, we could edit it in any way we needed. And finally, we have added some data items in our sales report layout to display our header and line text. And we found that we can use the templates to create the data item and all its settings and the bodies in one go, so we don't have to set everything up manually. Thank you for listening to me so far. I can see we don't have any questions at the moment, so I'll wrap up this coffee break. If you want to know more about FORNAV, or if you want to download the FORNAV toolbox, please visit our website. If you want to install FORNAV in Business Central Cloud, please visit Microsoft App Source. You can watch more videos about FORNAV on our YouTube channel, and if you have any questions about FORNAV, please email them to support@fornav.com. For a full list of upcoming and recorded coffee breaks, please visit fornav.com/coffeebreak. With that, thank you very much for joining me today, and goodbye.